All right. Well, welcome to Summit Center for Spiritual Living, where we share universal good through love. And I'm going to light a candle that has two wicks. And the first wick I light represents spirit, God, the all that is. And then the second one represents us as community, each other. And it's kind of hard to tell through the grass that's behind me, but you can see a bigger light. So whenever we gather together, we shine a greater light. So, John, would you like to do a song?
Okay. Well, whoop, there it is. All right, it's Loving Now. Let's see. Loving yesterday, loving
Recording in progress.
Loving today, loving now. Gotta get the message out. Loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now. Loving music, loving singing, loving harmony, loving now. Loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now. Loving forgiveness, loving gratefulness, loving creativity, loving as we could, growing wisdom, being wiser, living better, loving what is good. Loving nature, loving beauty, loving each other, loving now, loving awareness, kindness and happiness, peace and goodness, loving now, loving now.
Thank you, John. Very nice. All right. So today we are just going to do, it's a fifth Sunday. Whenever there's a fifth Sunday, we just do a discussion, but Michael's going to lead the discussion, and we're going to be talking about technology and spirituality. Is that right? Okay. Um, so that's what's going to happen today. And then next week, it's you, Michael? Was it you?
I guess so.
I think you said you wanted to do the first one.
Yes, I will. I'll do the first Sunday.
Okay, and then I know Tim's doing the third one. And Carol Ann was doing the fourth one. And John and I were going to do, one of us was going to do the second one. So if it's okay, I'll do the second one this time, and you have a little break for a change. Is that all right, John? Okay. All right. So anyways, so I'm looking forward to that. And then you got somebody coming in. We don't know the date when, but you got a special speaker coming in. So that'll be good.
Yeah, Jeff Radcliffe is he's a divine science minister from Tennessee, and he's my prayer partner, and very good speaker. And I think you'll really get a lot out of him. So yeah, so we'll have him probably in September.
Sounds good.
Gosh, September.
I know. Doesn't it seem impossible at this point? It's just going
Gosh.
so fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, that's what's going on with us for right now. And so John, if you'll lead us into a meditation. And Michael, do you want to do the meditation, or do you want me to? I can do it either way.
Well, you're the spiritual director. What would you like me to do?
You do it.
We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. One in spirit, one in kind, one in love, one in mind. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. One in spirit, one in kind, one in beauty, one in mind. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. One in spirit, one in kind, one in peace, one in mind.
So let's take a deep breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Release, relax, and just let go. Center in your heart. I want those words that John just sang resonate within you, that we are one. That we are one. That there is nothing outside of us. That we are one. One in spirit. Just feel that, know that within your heart. That we are one in this love, this life, this light, this peace, power, beauty, and joy, that we are one. There is nothing outside of ourselves, that we are one in spirit. And recognize again the one spirit as us, in us, and through us. That we are all emanations of that one life, that one light. That one life, that peace, power, beauty, and joy is ours. We are one. We are emanations of that one. So as I read from Science Mind 365, today's reading, allow it to be your thoughts today. And the affirmative thought is that I am enriched by the abundance of God. I am enriched today by the abundance of God. I am enriched today by the abundance of God. From the Jewish Bible, from Malachi, we read, "Prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it." Ernest Holmes' commentary is, what a promise this is. As though the divine were issuing a challenge to each of us and saying, perhaps things are better than they appear to be. Have you ever really tried having the confidence in spirit? Have you ever experimented with your own mind to see if you could come to a place where you really believe that there is good enough to go around? It is though the prophet were telling us that even the divine bounty itself, lavish and extravagant as it must be, awaits our own acceptance today. Perhaps we have been holding our bowl of acceptance and our chalice of life upside down, so that even the fruit and the wine of the Spirit cannot be poured in. Yet the windows of heaven must be forever open. So pray with me. So today, I open the windows of my own soul, so that the windows of heaven may pour on to my experience a blessing greater than I am able to receive. Nor would I withhold this blessing from others, for surely as it comes to me, surely it will go forth, multiplied and increased to heal and to help, to bless and enrich and to gladden others. Today, my faith, my hope, my expectancy looks up and out and beholds a limitless abundance present everywhere, flowing through all things, a limitless love, giving of itself to everything, and an infinite peace enveloping all. And behind it all and around it and through it, a joy forever sings a song of happiness and fulfillment. This is my day. This is my heaven. This is my life. This is my God. And in it will I put my trust. So as I continue Ernest Holmes' thought, we know that this is a day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. So today we allow ourselves to take the chalice of life that we have turned upside down and to turn it right side up. We take the bowl of acceptance that we may have turned upside down, we turn it right side up. And we allow ourselves to even have bigger containers than even what we are imagining right now. For God is infinite, and that infinite substance is expressed in us, as us, and through us. So we just allow ourselves today to experience and to express more and more good. And we decree and declare over everything in our life, our bills, our anything that we owe. We just now know that that is paid in full through the limitless substance of God. That God is our infinite source, not our job or the government or wherever that we get any type of support, but it's God. It's the good within us. So we allow ourselves to experience more good than ever before, not only in money, but in all things, that we are prosperous in all ways, in friends and money and in good health, in everything. We experience the abundance of God today. So I just now know that today is blessed, that us gathering together today is good and very good, and it shines a light upon the world. And it allows us to be that light upon the hill that everyone can see. And everyone, as they see that light, they acknowledge that light within them. So we just give great thanks for Summit Center for Spiritual Living, for Diana, and for everyone here today, for we are here today by a divine appointment. And those who are watching today are here by divine appointment to consider the depth of spirit within them. So for all of this, I just give great thanks, because I also know that I am surrounded by a law that takes this thought that I have just spoken and does its perfect work now, right now. So I just release it totally into the law, knowing it's already done. That we have a wonderful service and that we leave here changed and changed in depth. So if you agree with me, let's all say together, and so it is.
In spirit, one in kind, one in love, one in mind, one
Thank you, John and Michael. As you open your eyes, please look into your camera and try to see everybody else's eyes and look into their eyes and notice the magnificence that is within. So I love looking at this. One of my favorite parts of the service, taking this minute to just recognize each one's spirituality, see that beauty that's within. So, all right. So thank you so much. And thank you. Okay. So Michael, I'm going to let you go ahead and lead our discussion.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and good morning, even the people who are watching later. We appreciate you watching. So, as my community knows, I spent the week a couple weeks ago at the INTA, the International New Thought Alliance. I was a part of the media team from New Thought Media Network that presented the streaming and also the evening broadcast on our network. And on Tuesday night, it was not your typical feel-good New Thought message. We were challenged by two wonderful speakers. The first one being Shad Groveland. If that name is not familiar, Shad is the CEO of Unity Ministries Worldwide. And Shad had a very interesting talk, and I could tell that this was something that was really burning in him to speak about. He was talking about the whole idea. His talk was, and again, if you go on New Thought Media Network, all the evening sessions, it's the Tuesday evening session with Shad Groveland, and that it's absolutely wonderful. All the sessions were really good, especially in the evening. But the ones that were free and open to the public, those are available on New Thought Media Network. So I encourage you to check out the full message. But Reverend Shad talked to us about the whole idea that social media is making us more lonely and disconnected, and that real people are being harmed by social media and the algorithms of that. I know I'm going to probably start sounding like John here, but there's some real concerns in it. So Shad went to a conference of CEOs about hiring, and so the information given at this meeting for all the new hires, the 20-somethings up, is that their attention span is 8 seconds. They are mortified by fear and escape. They're concerned about even making it to the next day. Again, here's a generation that grew up with having sniper drills at their elementary school. Also, that there is the highest rate of PTSD, suicide, and depression more than ever before. And also the whole idea of social media addiction. And what they're saying is that the advice, especially in organizations, is to have a staff therapist there to help. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the way to go, but it's interesting where Shad went next. He talked about New Thought Online. And this was when we were in the car going back to the hotel, our team of 3 total, we were talking about this. That there may be a positive message that we give, yet it still may be isolating, and also we may be adding to the addiction, even though that there is a positive intent in it. And what he did was he put up a positive meme, something about, again, that the divinity or something's within you. But he was questioning, he was saying that, yeah, it's nice to read something like that, but again, that unless there's some connection with some type of community, that it really adds to the isolation and depression. So one of the quotes here I want to say is that the platform itself will dictate the experience that the user will have. And I'll say that again, the platform will dictate the experience that the user will have. So even though that the intent, this is Shad's summary of Shad's talk in my words here, even though that the intent is good, that the platform itself keeps us more isolated and depressed. And so the challenge was for all of us to use social media to get individuals into real personal connections with one another. He also talked about in the Old Testament, they talk, especially in the book of Kings, which I've read through, where when there was an absence of God, that what happens is people created a God. So Shad went ahead and said that that our new God is AI, artificial intelligence. Even the people who have championed it is saying we need to pump the brakes because it lacks moral compass right now. That we are losing humanity in it. So Reverend Shad said he said he heard of a Sunday a youth Sunday a Unity youth teacher, John Miller, used Chat GPT to write a Sunday youth lesson instead of the inspiration of Spirit. Yeah, that's. Oh, by the way, this talk was not written by Chat GPT. Okay, I wrote this. So the one thing that he was saying was, he says, are we willing to take a stand? Are we willing to start using social media to bring connection? And I'll have a few comments. He said that human connection is still the healthiest connection, and that spiritual community is extremely important. And I want to add there, at least for me, that I know a lot of this is online. I read something in a book today about the author saying, well, that his father taught him that that God isn't necessarily in a building, but that God is within us and as us and through us, which I agree. However, I think that the whole idea of us not being with a group of people, with other people making social connection, really, and I can attest to this, just having the books alone really has not helped my own spiritual growth. It's being with you. It's being in community that really, it keeps me grounded. People can sometimes say, I don't know about that. Do you really want to say that? Yeah, I was last Sunday on a show I was producing. The host said, well, I can't cook. And I said, well, that's a fine affirmation. do you want to affirm that? And so he recognized that. So it's in community where I can learn and grow. And what a passage that John and I have read at weddings thousands of times is 1 Corinthians 13, where it says that love is patient, love is kind. Now, that was not written for married couples. That was written for the community in Corinth, who was in all kinds of upheaval because they were arguing about the gifts of the Spirit. Which one was more important? Was it the gift of prophecy? Was it the gift of tongues? What? So anyhow, so what Paul said was that, and wrote, was that none of that's really important. It's how we share love in community. That's the only thing that's going to last at the end, is love. So So my response, I've had some time to think about it, and again, the team that I was with, we drove back to the hotel together and we were talking about, now again, this is us using social, a platform and a network to using social media again to get the message out. Thinking about Reverend Shad's message, I agree. However, again, let's understand that anything can be addictive. That again, addiction is the whole idea of us trying to feel good. So there's many ways of doing that. However, that some of the ways of doing it, including social media, numbs our feelings, where we're not able to process our feelings, and again it's an endless loop. So the whole idea of using social media or using technology, again, I have a friend of mine who was the former dean of Holmes Institute. She's writing a book called The Soul of the Internet. She was married to an engineer who has passed, that was one of the engineers that worked on the internet. So she was so she noticed her husband trying to, and so she was one of the first proponents of in United Church of Religious Science to have online classes. Boy, did she get pushback. How dare you put this stuff online? So again, anything can be addictive. So what I have learned is that the connection platforms like the one that we're using in Zoom, and others have created community with others around the world, not only locally here in our area, but also with people around the world. My Wednesday night class with Dr. Tom Senar, it's not just having Tom there, but it's also having, again, the community that has built up around that. Whereas now that the group itself, that we are teaching the lessons that Tom gives us every single week to do. So there's opportunity there for us to build community by getting to know one another. Another example for me is a prayer group. I meet with a couple of times a month where we do a mystical practice, a mystical meditation. Again, we have people from Japan, from Canada, from Virginia, from Minnesota, from Ohio, including me. We have people all over. So I'm saying that I think, Shad has some good points, and that the internet can be used and technology can be used for us to not only to teach, but also to form community. I'm sorry that Diana is not here. Diana E is not here. This is where she said that before she came to us that she got a lot of her spirituality off of YouTube. So, there's so much wonderful stuff on YouTube. But again, that to use technology to build community, that again, we use the technology to go ahead and to invite people to experience the love and the acceptance and the support that we experience in community. So I think that it really, and again, we can discuss this, it really points um, for the whole idea of that, the need for personal connection, that the internet, social media can be used as a point of disconnection. And again, and I can see where the, people are very concerned about this. Again, Shad was saying that he met a CEO at this meeting of nonprofits that went from feeding children to having programs about social media addiction. Again, the attention span is 8 seconds. And again, it's caused by being on the phone, again, using media. Again, I'm not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm just, again, I bring it up for discussion today. And again, how we can, how we as a community can do more as far as and the other thing too is, having Tim's been a part of our community now for 3 years now. See, it gives us opportunities to form community. But again, that when we, there is again that danger of using technology to stay lonely and isolated. So I'm done. So what are your thoughts on the subject? Thank you.
Well, yeah, I think it's a real issue. I mean, communication by text, for example, that's 8 seconds, less than 8 seconds sometimes, although you can do a paragraph. I've gotten to the point where I used to do one word text, and now I'm doing a whole paragraph, not with my thumbs though. But my kids and the family, we have a group text, and they think they've communicated by saying they loved what somebody else said or something and put a little heart on it, and that's communication. And yeah, they're with their phones all the time, and not only is it distracting to their thinking processes, but they're getting zapped with the frequencies, having the phone nearby and on their body the whole time. There's destruction of sperm, and guys carrying their cell phone in their pockets. We got a lot of issues with these devices that are, some people actually call them weapons, high-tech weapons. So there's a whole issue there. By the way, we may, in the not too distant future, have an option to meet in person. My friend Marcia, I believe you know her, Michael, Marcia Santamaro, is coming to the point of getting the properties from her family empire that she's fought in court for years. And so there may be a space. She might like to do a yoga center or a holistic healing center that could also be a space to meet, if only for, holding 12 or so. But
we can do that, John.
Yeah.
Easy. And I've been intending for that. So you have Marcia call me. Yeah, I've been intending for that. So that's wonderful. Yeah.
So what I have seen is that, with the technology, like you said, it's just so short. There's some advantages to be able to just do a quick text. Say, okay, well, hey, Michael, I'm out here. I'm at the store, or, not a quick thing or whatever. Do you need anything? Instead of trying to call, because sometimes he doesn't always answer when I call. So not purposely, but sometimes he's on the phone talking to somebody else. So by texting, I can sometimes get an answer faster than I can actually. So there's advantages to that respect, but it's also for us to be able to just talk and to communicate. And for us, this started because of COVID, but I got to meet Tim. I would love to meet him in person one of these days. but it's wonderful to get to know people through media in another way. And work is I work from home, but I still actually have coworkers that even though we're always just texting or using Teams mail or whatever, we actually do have some good conversations once in a while. Um, you know, is it a lot of it's just short and sweet and yeah, but every once in a while you have that opportunity, and that's a nice thing.
So what do you think about Shad saying that again, that the platform itself um, adds to the isolation of us all?
Well, the problems that I've been having with my computer, I, by the way, spend a lot of time trying to clear stuff off my computer. I still got a low resources message today, but I cleared all kinds of files. I tried to re-up the latest version of Zoom. I'm trying to figure out why I had all these difficulties. Like my computer completely froze last week, right at the end of my talk there. I don't know that bothers me when the technology doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think that, and I think I've talked about that. Is again, when you work on a technology team, especially with spiritual people, that when you are faced with challenges and difficulties, is that the whole idea is not to get upset about them, is to really to put yourself in a place of resource where that that again, that if you keep at, and again, we had a challenge when again in Chicago, there seems to be a challenge from us getting from the house sound into our equipment. And this is like the second time that we've had that issue. So but again, that we were able to work through that. We were able to ask for help and do that. With Shad saying that again, that, well, what I interpreted as saying is he's saying, well, this whole internet thing is bad because of the platform. And I disagree. I think that there, again, like anything else, there needs to be some limits. And again, all for the people who are saying, well, the employers who are saying our employees lack attention, I have a good fix for that. Teach mindfulness. And again, it's secular. You can teach mindfulness meditation in a secular manner. There's a secular form of Buddhism. Really, Buddhism is about awakening. It's not about a deity. It's so you can use those types of things again to lengthen the attention span of individuals. Now, again, I've noticed over the years, I really try to keep my talks around 20 minutes. And also, John Miller has taught me to keep my weddings under 20 minutes. John doesn't remember this, but we were going through, we were taking a look at the one wedding I did, and John looked at me and he says, that was 35 minutes. You need to keep your weddings 20 minutes or less. And then he left. He didn't say anything. He just left because he wanted me. I don't know. John doesn't remember that, but for me, it really, see, that's the power of community. That's the power of having loving feedback from other people in your community to serve other people. So I think that a lot of that is really good. And as far as us, building community and doing things. And you tell Marcia, I have just a person to head that up because I've been intending that. So I'll be more than happy to help.
Okay, so I want to hear from, I know Tim had his, I was going to say, thank you, Tim. And then I want to hear from Hannah after that. So anyways, go ahead, Tim.
Well, I would just say there's pros and cons to social media in general. I do remember 2020 when I was about to go to Pittsburgh and meet Michael in person, but then that big C word put an end to that plan pretty quickly. Of course, Michael had hightailed it from Pittsburgh anyway. But it was at that point I'm thinking, okay, are we just going to sit here and lose all contact with humanity until this thing blows over? And how many years is that going to be? But then, in comes Zoom meetings and online services. And I got to meet all of you, like you were talking about, Michael, and several other groups. I was having fun playing in Ohio at 7:30 in the morning, and then at Ukiah, California, which would have been a 3-hour drive in person, at 11:30. But over the years now, as COVID has more or less been defanged, I think we're getting way too comfortable in what was a necessity to keep from going insane. Not that I don't appreciate that you're having this online service. I wouldn't get up this early to be part of it if I didn't. But I'm not talking about this group. I'm talking about in general. We are getting too comfortable staying at home and losing that connection.
And I think we could blend them. We talked about that, where somehow figure out how to broadcast in a live setting and have other people that can't make it in person participate.
Oh, and regarding what you were saying about the attention span, last year or 2 years ago, when we happened to be driving, I was with my daughter. We were driving past my old high school. I said, "Hey, can I stop here and just take a look? I haven't been here in 40 years. She said, "Sure, let's see what your high school looked like." So this was just before COVID, and so we were able to go onto campus. It was a Saturday, and was looking around, and I said to her, "Okay, over there, unfortunately, that's where your old dad used to spend lunchtime. That was the smoking section where all the stoners would hang out." She said, "Smoking section in school?" I said, "Yeah, just that little section there." She's, "But smoking during school?" That was just unthinkable in today's world. I said, "Yeah, unfortunately, smoking was much more of a thing back then in the early 80s. And so she said, she right away theorized, I guess people needed something to keep their attention, like a cigarette, because they didn't have their phones. So I think it's not so much that the attention span of this generation has gone down. It's just they have a whole different outlet for it.
That's a good point.
That's interesting.
But the outlet is probably taking more than its share. I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Oh,
I have a sketch about
Go ahead.
I have a statue of the Buddha from the center of New Thought. Good size. I'll have to show it to you sometime. It's in my bedroom over there, but it's the Buddha sitting in lotus, and it has the little prayer wheel in one hand. That's the little thing that they spin, as they're meditating. So they had, little technologies, even thousands of years ago, to focus their attention on or distract or keep them focused on their meditation or whatever. And now it's going the other way, I guess, where it's distracting you from your focus, but like smoking cigarettes, that's it's as much the ritual of putting it in your mouth, lighting it, I mean, I was a good year as an intern during college in finance. People would sit there at their desk and smoke, no matter whether the next person smoked or not. I mean, it was just like you could smoke anywhere, restaurants or whatever. Everybody smoked if they wanted to, and other people got the side smoke, and sometimes it bothered them, but most people were used to it. Smoked in the car, smoked everywhere.
Yeah, we're running out of time. Hannah, do you have something to add to this, or would you like to talk? Yeah, and I think that's the whole idea. And I just a couple of thoughts before we go on. Is that I think that the church of the future, and I had the opportunity of talking about this down at Sunshine Cathedral with their lead pastor down there. Well, I was at a table, and he asked a question. He said, "Where do you think the church is going where do you think centers are going in the future?" And I went ahead and I said, a lot of what you're doing here, which is, again, having the center be a place of community gathering, having it be a place of sharing. And that the other thing too is that the need now for smaller buildings, because and my idea is that whatever building that we get is that we can go ahead and we can put in like a small studio, so that we can again continue the Zoom meeting, this Zoom community, but also to to have a live, a live community, live group. So, and that's what Sunshine Cathedral is doing. They have on Sundays, they have on their broadcast, they have well over 30,000 people per week watching their broadcast. 30,000 people a week. So it's not, now their numbers are slowly coming back from COVID. So, but still, that a lot of their support, a lot of what's going on is the online community again giving. So again, that's why I'm saying again this whole idea of self-examination about what we're using, the tools, and to be able to use them mindfully rather than have them use us. Thank you. So.
All right. Well, thank you. And John, how about a song?
All right. Well, this is a song that I often do, or almost always do at our bowl burning back at the beginning of the year. But I often like to play it at the end of July as the other side of the year. So it's called Knowing. It goes back a few years, a few decades. The sun may shine We will bind our fears to a bundle, then cast it on into the flame. The time has come for knowing the truth has always been the same. The door is opening so slowly. It is hard to notice it so slow. Bit by bit, it is moving. We can listen through the crack for what to know. We will bind our fears to a bundle, then cast it on into the flame. The time has come for knowing the truth has always been the same. As life's power travels, if we are aware, we'll feel the song. Though we do not know the hour of knowing, we may know before long. We will bind our fears to a bundle, then cast it on into the flame. The time has come for knowing the truth will always be the same.
All right. Thank you, John. Thank you. Okay, so it is that time in our service where we give the people the opportunity to give. You can do that by going to SSC, go to Zelle, and then go to sscofakron@gmail.com. That's sscofakron@gmail.com. Or you can give by sending a check to put the word Summit Center or Summit, make sure Summit's on it. And then it needs to go to 1199 Lexington Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44310. We'll make sure that that gets taken care of. So let's just take our let's take our
Gift.
gift. Thank you. Gift into our hands, and just know that it is all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive is blessed in a very magnificent way. It goes to the work of Summit Center for Spiritual Living, and it also is returned back to the giver 10 times or more. And with that, I'm just grateful and thankful. Amen. Okay, so announcements. I think we.
No, good, more good.
Oh, good, more good. Okay, sorry.
Good and more good is mine, and ever increasing good is mine. Unlimited, infinite good is mine. Wherever I go, I see good. Whatever I do, I feel oh so good. I'm worthy and entitled to good and more good. Good crowds itself upon us, wraps itself around us. We give ourselves permission to accept more good, express more good. Oh, good, more good is ours. Ever increasing good is ours. Thank you, Spirit, and so it is.
All right, thank you. And fast announcements.
Watch me on New Thought Media Network. That's it.
Good. Anybody else?
YesWise.com, and I've got a chat on Wednesday night at 9. You can log in from YesWise.com.
All right.
We're gonna
Okay,
talk
so
about the financial situation and ideas of how to protect ourselves.
okay. So let's just take a moment of silence, and I'll ring us in and I'll ring us out, and just take a moment to bring into mind someone or something that needs healed, whether it be a person or an animal or the planet. So I'll bring us in. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out love. We are the people of love. We are the people of peace. We are the people of peace. Sing out, people, sing out peace. We are the people of peace. We are the people of joy. We are the people of joy. Sing out, people, sing out joy. We are the people of joy. We are the people of love. We are the people of love. Sing out, people, sing out love. We are the people of love. We are the people of love.
All right. Thank you so much. And Hannah, you can finish, and I will stop my recording as well.